I hope you're having a good day thus far. It is 5:37 on Central Time and 6:37 on Eastern Time and 3:37 on Pacific Time. So Mountain Time, I think they're an hour behind, so I think it's 4:37 there. But yeah, um, these days are going by so quickly, and I will tell y'all, I'm not ready. I feel like so I made a decision about 2 weeks ago regarding work, and that hopefully will help me with my health because I definitely need to spend more time devoted to that. Because honestly, that's just number one. Everything else definitely has to come behind that. Well, number one is God and doing what I need to do in the order that God would have me do it. So I was praying about it, very. I talked about this on a live one day is that, just talking about fear and what that can stand for. And I felt like, I definitely was experiencing that feeling of fear. And when I talked about the fact that one of my she was my supervisor at one job, and then she was just a coworker of mine at another job. I got the opportunity to work with her twice in my career, and I'm very blessed and thankful to have had that opportunity to work with her. But one of the things that she told me back then, because I've always really dealt with just a little bit of anxiety, depression. I've dealt with both of those. And just throughout my life when I was younger, I didn't know what to call it, what it was. Um, but as I got older, of course, I gained more understanding about depression and anxiety. And I started going to counseling when I was around 26 years old. So I've been kind of in and out of counseling since then. And I will tell you, one of the things, like I said, this old supervisor of mine said, she told me what fear stood for or can stand for. And it was false evidence appearing real. So when you are just in your head about everything, like me, I'm very much in my head about a lot of things. As I'm already going through that time of like, what should I do? Should I do this? Should I do, that or whatever? And does it really make sense? It just really needs to make sense between God and I, and not me thinking about everyone else's feelings as it relates to what I'm dealing with day to day. And some of it has really caused me to stay at jobs a little bit too longer than I probably should have. Or hi, to actually not stay, and I think about all that because I'm like, wow, when I work at this place, how was my thought process on things? And so, anyway, not to go all the way back to the past, but I do think about that, especially more now than ever, because, I stated, I'm doing okay. I'm actually in good spirits today. How are you? But yeah, I stated that, about the word fear and what it means, or what it can mean. Because it actually, there's another statement I think I said on another live that forget everything and run is also what fear can stand for. And that's not what I want to do. I want to, like, I always want to know what, not to make decisions based off fear or make decisions based off of, oh, I just need to run and get away from that. That's, in the long run, it's not good for me. I can't speak for anybody else, but I'll speak for myself in saying that it's not good for me. So I would much rather just try to go through the day by day, and then make a decision from a good headspace than making decisions from a forget everything and run headspace. Because to me, I'm not getting, or I'm not going to the place or whatever and getting in alignment to what God wants me to do. And that's what I want to always do, especially in this time of my life. So that's where I'm at. And I would say, yeah, I still been experiencing some anxiety around decisions, but I'm trying to work on that and get myself in a better headspace about things. So that's where I'm at. But I also wanted to talk a little bit about, so I'm a quote person. I love quotes. I do. I love poetry and writing and all those things from an artistic standpoint. But I will tell y'all, one of my favorite poets is Maya Angelou. I've always loved her since I was a kid. And so I bought these cards, and I want to actually put together a set myself, and this is something I'll be working on. But this is one project I'll be working on. Since I have a little bit more time to myself to do some of this. But I bought these sets of cards that are really motivational cards, because usually what I try to do is like just my close friends. Every now and then I'll send them some snail mail or, because I just feel like people got out of this thing of like sending people letters, and I think it means more to people than people really think about until they actually receive one, and then they're like, oh my God, I haven't got one of these in so long. I know for me, that's how I am. Like, one of my closest friends, she's so amazing, but she's in Maryland, and she sent me a handwritten note, and I still have it. I actually have it hanging up. Well, it was a note within a card, and I was like, I'm gonna keep this. And last year I got quite a few like cards from close friends. One was in Georgia. Well, a couple of them are in Georgia who sent me cards, and to me that means a lot, because it's like somebody took the time out of their day to sit down and to write, or just to say something without, because sending a text is so quick, right? You can do this quickly. But not even picking up the phone, because most people now are more about texting, or they may email. But most people now, if they got your number, they're going to text you more than pick up the phone to call, or even send an email, because sometimes that requires you having to literally go to new email on your phone, and then type up all these things, when you just be like, oh, I can just send you a text. So back to when someone writes a handwritten note, I think that's the best gift to me, because I can hold on to that, and I can always refer back to it. And you can with text too, but I just feel like, especially now, people get so many texts, and your phone it doesn't have, honestly, y'all, it don't hold that much data. I don't know why I be like, I need to get rid of all these texts, because I was looking at And I'll get into this too because this is kind of funny. So, but I'm gonna go back to these. So anyway, I put these in a card usually, and I'll send it off to my friends just to every now and then. It's just something that I love to do because I love to write. And I remember actually a few years back, one of my close friends, she actually came to visit me late last year. She sent me my birthday gift was one of those old school pens, like when people were writing on their papyrus. I think it's called papyrus paper or something like that. But the specialty paper back in like, oh my God, like 1800s, early 1900s. So she sent me one of those. And I think I still have like the box and everything that it came in. But it was one of the best gifts. And I'm gonna tell y'all, in the card, she was just like, um, Angela, here's, happy birthday. I just wanted you to have this. I seen this and I thought of you because you have such good handwriting. And I was like, oh my God, thank you. And that really meant a lot to me because I was like, oh, she actually, when you get things from friends or anyone and you know that like they actually thought about something and thought through something to send you that gift to me, that's a blessing. And so anyway, yeah, so that was one of the birthday gifts I got. And again, I still have it. I don't use it anymore because it doesn't have any. I think you have to like go and get because it had a refill thing in there. But yeah, I've used that and all that. But I just kept it because I was like, it's a keepsake. So something you just keep throughout your life, hopefully, and you just have it. So anyway, so that's relating back to the writing. But I went and I got a couple of these cards out of my stash of cards. And like I said, these are small, so they actually have little small envelopes with them that comes with them or whatever. You take that and you can put it in another card, and that's usually what I do, just put it in another card. I mean, because I just wouldn't want to mail anything out this small, but if you do, you do. But if I see someone like that I want to give this to in person, then I'll put it in which I have. I've given some of these away in person. And then just put them in the envelope, and it comes with like 4 or 5 different colors for the envelopes. And I bought these probably about, it's 2026, probably about 3 years ago, I think. Maybe, yeah, probably 3 or 4 years ago. So I still have quite a few of them left. And anyway, so I pulled out these two. One is, like I said, by Maya Angelou, who is one of my favorite poets to date. But it says, "You alone are enough. You have nothing to prove to anybody." That was just a reminder that I needed today. Actually, I needed the reminder yesterday and the day before, and then the day before that, and then the day before that. Yeah. Um, yeah, and I'm going to post this because I need to keep this. I need to keep this to remind myself that I'm enough and that I don't have anything to prove to anyone. I don't. People be like in your 40s is when you get that, you get that I don't give a about nothing that nobody have to say. I think I'm like I thought I was there, but then as I'm going through some things this year, I feel like I'm not all the way there. Like I still gotta get that and keep it consistent to where I'm not concerned. Um, yeah. So and especially the last 3 years have been very difficult for me health wise, just life and life in general. And so I think a little bit of it is that too. Is just trying to find my stride, and get in alignment to where God wants me to be and where God wants me to go. And so that's a little bit of what we'll be talking about on this channel, as well as I go through those things. Um, and this is one of my ways to vlog about it. And also, my hope is that other positive things come out of that, because it's difficult in certain parts of life anyway, because as you age, it is a blessing to age. Like, that is a blessing. But sometimes you don't, when especially black women, I don't really feel like it's as like vocalized or celebrated in a way, because it's like, oh, people are like, oh, now the new saying is auntie when you're around this my age. Just, you auntie. And I'm like, I just don't really like that. I just would much rather you call me my name or whatever. I get these sayings, they happen, but I was just like, and through each generation is something, right? It's a new saying for this and a new saying for that. But yeah, the auntie thing, I don't like that. I just be like, really? Okay. Um, but anyway, that's the one quote that I'm going to post it somewhere. The second one that I pulled out was called, it's by Rumi. Rumi is a Persian poet. I think from like, I could be wrong, y'all, but I think from the 1800s, might be prior, maybe not, but maybe not. Anyway, I think from like the 1800s. Hi, thank you for watching. Y'all, please be sure to subscribe, like, share for me, okay? Because I am definitely trying to grow this channel. But yeah, so Rumi is one of my favorite poets as well, and like I said, Persian. And anyway, this one has, it says, shine like the whole universe is yours. And that just reminds me, like, step outside with your head held, high, like, held not high, but up, right? Like, hold your head up, don't look down, like, just understand your value. And then put one foot in front of the other and proceed. And so that is amazing. Like, I love this quote. And Rumi has a lot of quotes, a lot that are amazing. And I think there's a book that was published as well, with a lot of, pretty much all of, not all, but like some of the poetry that was written by Rumi. So if y'all looking for, if y'all like poetry and all of that, great poet. Okay. Definitely well ahead of his time, and definitely just someone I wish I had known about a lot, or before, because I don't think I really heard of Rumi until I was in my early 30s, I think. So, and I like poetry, but I really just stick to the same ones, like, but like Maya Angelou, I love Nikki Giovanni, and yeah, there's quite a few, like, but he's not really a poet, but James Baldwin, I like him and his work. And I like just interviews that I've seen, and how he responded to certain questions during those interviews. So, yeah, but there's a lot of writers that I really, that I follow, and I really enjoy reading their work. So, One that I would say is younger. I want to say she's probably in her maybe early 30s now, but her name is Amanda Gorman, and Gorman, I think, if I'm pronouncing her last name correctly. But she actually did the poet. She did not the poet, but the reading, I think. And actually, I think she did write that poem. And was it Obama's? It was something for Obama. I want to say it was for his inauguration one year, I think. Is when I first heard of her. Well, no, I heard of her before because by that time that she did the inauguration or she did that reading, I think I had her book was getting ready to come out or be released, and she has a lot of her work is in this book that she released some years ago. It probably was, I don't know, maybe no, it probably was before COVID, I guess, because I have the book. I don't read it. I don't read that book often, but she does have it's a lot of good poems in there. And I think since then she's released some other work as well too. But I really like her work. Um, and yeah, so that's a little bit about me and what I like to read, y'all. So I could be wrong. Correct me in comments if I'm wrong on names or dates or all this stuff. So, um, yeah, but both of those quotes really were needed. I needed to read them today. Um, because I just know for me, like, I need just the motivation to keep pressing forward even when I don't know where I'm pressing forward to. And that's something that, I have to pray about, ask God for strength and to really direct my path. That I'm not just out here just to be out here. Like God, there's a reason for me to be here, and that I'll get locked into that and um, accept that and move forward in the best way. And I think that's the only way I can is through prayer, through working on myself and trying to be a better version of myself each day and forgiving myself for wrong turns, just mistakes, wrong, just not even mistakes, just stuff that I had no business doing. And one thing my mom reminded me of yesterday as I was talking to her, she was just like, you have always been really hard on yourself, like ever since you were a kid. And it's something that and she's right, because I have been. And it's something that I worked on. I thought I was through it, but then, you had something happen and and you like, what? Why? You know, and I'm right back there again, kind of being hard on myself. So it is something I need to continuously work on to get myself in a better headspace, and this is to stay there. But it can be difficult sometimes, especially as you're going through other challenges, and especially if it's something with your health, whether it's your mental or your physical or your emotional or your spiritual, like all of those things are big things, and you have to monitor that in the way that the way I speak to myself, the way I speak to others, being good to myself so that I can be good to others. It's a daily work and a daily grind in life, that I think, yeah, I just think people take it for granted, just that part of like being in tune with and just getting in alignment and staying there, right? Like not putting too much on yourself, but also to put just enough so that you know, okay, this is just enough of what God wants me to do. I don't, I don't need to push myself any harder. But I need to stay in alignment, stay consistent, and also to be content, not complacent, because there's definitely a difference between the two. Because even when you're content, you're still working towards something to better yourself, but you also are enjoying the moment, like whatever moment you're in, however old you are, or however young you are, or whatever the case may be, that you are um, present in the moment, and not thinking too far ahead, and not focus on everything that happened in the past, because those, it's supposed to be a place to learn from. Um, and yeah, I've learned some really hard lessons in my 40s, and I hope to God that I don't repeat any of those things, even from my early 40s. I'm like, because I'm 45 now, and I'm just like, it's, yeah, 45, yeah. Yeah, thank you for watching. Um, yeah, so anyway, I'm not gonna talk too much about my age, but we will talk about that more on this channel. But I will tell y'all something else that really motivated me the past couple of days were, because I'm writing in one of my journals that one of my closest friends sent to me. She's amazing, but it has my name on it, and I use this really to write down ideas and thoughts and on stuff, work that I want to do. And so I wrote down some things that I was going to talk about today. And so I did. The first things were the quotes, even though I got into this long tangent about other stuff, but that's me. And then I want to tell y'all too. So one thing that was really motivational that I've seen in the past couple of days, were these women of color, women who look like me, who are doing their YouTube channels. And all three of them, over the course of watching them, they've been very vocal about just encouraging women to, especially black women, to start a YouTube channel. And I thought that that was just amazing, because I just feel like sometimes, you cannot know what you don't know what you don't know, right? And then even, but then you can put yourself down and hold yourself back from pursuing things, because you're like, oh, I don't have anything to talk about, or nobody will want to be hearing what I'm talking about, and they wouldn't come to my channel, and da 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 da, or they don't want to listen to me when I'm going live. I mean, you can think of 100 million reasons why you shouldn't do something, but when you have some people who are just really encouraging you and saying, like, one of the women, her name, I think it's Webley Alfred is her name, but she said something to the magnitude of, like, you know, it's 1,000 people, over 1,000 people doing, or like when you go to the store. This is the, I think, the analogy that she gave. But it was something like when you go to the store and you go down the aisle and it's the same like it's the same product, like a cookie, for instance. And then you see all these different brands that have a certain, it's a certain type of cookie, right? Like, and it's a 200 different brands of different cookies. And you got all these people doing the same thing, but there's a market for everything. And, no matter if there's 200 different brands, there's still enough room for you to do your thing. And I love that analogy, because that's true. It's a lot of different people out here doing some of the same thing, but the way you do it might be just the thing that somebody needs to hear and see and watch, and it resonated like it that person picks it up better from you than they did maybe from the other 50 people that they've seen do it. So don't give up on yourself. Like, don't put yourself down and to say, hey, you can't do it. Yeah, you can. You can do it, and it doesn't matter. Hi, thank you for watching. Yeah, so even, and so that was really motivational to me. And then this other woman is, so I think she might have 2 pages on here. I don't know. I think so, because I was a little confused. I'm not for sure if I think she has 2 pages though. But one, it's called Wanderlust Diana, and so she talks about her travels because she's always wanted to travel. But she travels around right now because I think she's originally from Jamaica, but she grew up in New York. And anyway, so she has a Cadillac. I don't know what type it is, but it's a nice car. And so, but you know, Cadillacs are really expensive. Like the parts on Cadillacs are expensive. And so, but she's traveling around in this car and she talks about her travels, the different places that she's gone to. And it's just, it's amazing. Like, and how she is, taking care of herself, and she eats all these great meals. Like, yeah, she cooks better than like people in apartment and houses. And I'll be like, lady, like she cooks some amazing food on the road, and I'll be like, wow, like that's just motivating to me. So anyway, but she also, she did a live and she was just saying like, you know, hopefully through looking at her and listening to her, you will get, you know, it will motivate you to do something that you've always wanted to do. Don't let lack of, or you feeling whatever type of way, like everybody goes through that. And they may not want to be honest about it, but most people do go through it at some point, you know. But she was just like very motivational and just saying how, you know, her travels, and she was just being very transparent. And so I just appreciated that. I was like, and like I said, she makes amazing food in her car. I be like, this lady, she be on it. She really be on it because her goal, like one of her goals I think coming up, is she wants to get a van. That's what it was. Because I'm gonna tell y'all, so back around COVID, that's the only thing that made me think about this, because around COVID time, I want to say it might have been after or during COVID is when I started watching a lot of video footage, just random channels of what else? Like the different people who do van life, like they created and built out their vans, and so they would get in these vans and they would drive all across the world, all across the U.S. And some of them, some way, like they got to Mexico and they would do all these travels in their van across Mexico. And then it was some that would go to Canada and they would travel all around Canada. And then there were a lot of them who were in the U.S. and they would just travel all around the U.S. And so it was very motivational to me, because it was like, yeah, do you really need all this stuff to live? You really don't. You really don't. And so, and it definitely reassured me, or assured me, that like, you don't need all this stuff. So, and sometimes the more you have, the more you feel obligated to stay stuck in something that isn't necessarily the thing that God really has for you. You trying to make it something for you, but it's not necessarily that it's yours. it's just a temporary state, because all this stuff is temporary. None of it is forever. So, and people, I remember I looked at some of the comments, and Diana's one of her videos, and she was saying, no, one of the comments said something like, I was judging you at first, but after watching some of your videos, um, they were saying like they were being judgmental of her, but after watching her videos and the travels and all of that, that they really are motivated by her videos, and she's doing a great job, like, and they didn't, I don't know, this one, I don't think they apologized, but they were just saying like, I generally understand where you were coming from after watching a lot of your videos. So yeah, and she was saying during that a live that I watched, that she doesn't look at all the comments, because sometimes they can be very negative, and I'm sure, because like I said, there were comments, like even that person who said that, like in probably one of her other videos, was like, you need to get somewhere and sit down, like, why are you doing this? Like, this isn't, you know, normal, or what you're supposed to do. Like, you're supposed to graduate from high school, go to college, get a degree, get a job and stay on that job and retire off that job. But that's not for everybody. And I think, you see that in what she's doing, and some of the things that she says as well too. It's like, that doesn't work. That whole systematic thing, and the Americanized way of how you should do things, it doesn't work for everyone. And I think, again, for me, it's getting in alignment with God and doing what I'm supposed to do according to what God says, not everybody else. Everybody else ain't got to agree with it. And it was part of that thing of like being in your 40s and you be like, you don't care. Well, there are times that I don't, but right now I'm going through this period where I kind of do care, and I'm working on it. I don't proclaim to be a master of it all, because I'm not. I'm not. I still have moments that I'm like, why am I putting myself through these things and this thing? But the thing too is like, um, I have to also understand that certain things are just not for me. To do it how everybody else is doing it, that's not for me. It's not. Mine is going to be different. The way I get there is going to be different. Um, and so that's the theme for me going forward, is that I have to understand that, and I have to be okay with that. And I also have to be okay with the fact that not everyone is going to be around as I'm going through these different seasons in life. And that's okay too. I just have to, again, pray my way through it and be okay with the fact that, like, the way that I do life is possibly going to be different from somebody else that I know or don't know. Like, like I said, looking on this YouTube channel, you come across people who doing it in all types of ways. But yeah, during COVID, a lot of people were doing the van thing, and a lot more people are doing it now, because the rent and mortgages are so expensive. Like, the average rent now is $1,800. And then these people say, well, you got to bring in 3 times that rent per month. And it's like, really? 3 times? Okay. And then they're like, mortgages, people are paying like, the average might be like 2,200 to 2,500 for a house that might be like I don't know, like 200,000, I guess, or somewhere along that. And some of it's less than that, but their mortgages are still higher because the interest rates are a lot higher now, and things are just high. I mean, they are. They are expensive. So, it's just, I see why people are building out vans and just living their life the best they know how. Like, getting that propane, figuring out how to deal with that, and dealing with the electricity in this small confined space. It seems like it's a lot, but I think once you learn how it flows and the process, it gets easier, I think, over time. Or it seems like it does for some of those people. I don't watch those van videos as much anymore. But I was watching, like, I have started back watching some tiny home videos because I would like to get a tiny home eventually. Um, I wouldn't mind one of the RVs to travel really as far as I can travel around the U.S. and beyond in an RV. I really would love to do that with my parents because they're just amazing. My parents are amazing. And I just I think that's one thing my mom really wants to do, and I really want to be able to do that with her and my dad. So, yeah, and my brother if he wants to come along too, but he's something else. But it would be fun, like with all four of us. It would definitely be fun. So that's something I would love to do. And but yeah, so watching I still have come across some of the RV things, but it doesn't come up as much for me. I have to literally have to go looking for it because I had stopped watching YouTube for a while, or just those types of videos. The only thing I was like, yeah, I need to get on here and start looking through some of these RVs and stuff, and kind of seeing, because one of the things I was actually talking to my dad about. I was like, I would like to rent one first, and then from there see what can happen from there. So, hi, look, this is my mom name. I'm like, is that her? I don't know. My mom doesn't really know how to even use YouTube like that. Well, yeah, she does. Let me say, she watches these certain videos on YouTube, but I just could not imagine that this is her. It may be though. Oh, it is my mom. Hi, mama. Look, y'all. Look at my mom. She's like hi, and then she says yes. So it is her, y'all. My mom is so funny, and it's weird that you got on here at this time because I was just talking about you, and I was saying how um, I said my mom, she wants to get an RV. Love you too, mom. Get an RV and travel around the world. So we gonna do that because it's no better time than this time. And I'm also cutting apples as well. But yeah, so that's something we definitely are gonna do, Mom. So yeah, my mom surprised me. I'm so happy that she knows how to use YouTube. Um, Besides watching these videos she watches all day, I be like, Mom, really? Okay, we gonna do that. So she's like, sounds good, because I'm like, we need to get an RV, start traveling the world, and go some places, because it's really nice. Like, Canada is really nice, because we have driven to Vancouver from Washington State before, and that was a really good trip. Even though it rained a lot, but that's kind of what you expect on that side of the world. And the other part about it is they don't really get a whole lot of storms like we do. Even where I'm at right now, like when it rains here, it storms. it is not regular rain. When it rains up there, it's like drizzling rain, and people still working out, running, doing all they stuff. Like they don't stop. But here you kind of have to sometimes because it floods and yeah. So it's definitely different from the south and the storms, like the hurricanes. Because right now we're still technically in hurricane season, so it can get very destructive. So yeah. Anyway, so then my last thing I was gonna talk about was go back to those women that I was giving y'all the names of. So the third one that I've watched was Renee. I think her first name is Renee, and I think her last name is Coakley. But one of the things is she really motivated me because she just left her full-time job, and I think she had a health scare or something around like her mid 30s because she's like 37 right now. And she ended up moving back in with her parents. So she's living where her parents are now. And she was just like, people would try to make you feel bad about certain stuff, but multi generational living is very common now because of the cost of living of everything. Like, stuff is just too expensive. And like I said, rent, and that's why people are going to van life. That's why people are really just kind of figuring out a new system for living, because stuff is just so, like, it's ridiculous how much stuff costs now. So anyway, she was very, and she is very motivating to me. So she, like I said, she just left her full-time job, and she's doing this cohort right now, and she has a YouTube channel. So she was very encouraging and just saying, like, black women, she encourages them to definitely start a YouTube channel and speak about your life and just things that you can pass on to other people because you just never know. So anyway, and so I wrote this thing, and I was just like, these women have given me some encouragement to do and try to build this channel. So that's what I wrote, and that, yeah, I want to have slow mornings and work on creating the life that I want, and not, being worried about this thing and that thing, like do the things that I feel that I'm good at. And then yeah, she has three. It was three things that really resonated with me. Was the work digitally. I can't say it right now. Live life on your own terms, and then working out and feeling good in that moment, like enjoying the moment for what it is, and not delving so deep and going back to what happened in the past or how things should be in the future and worrying yourself about it. So yeah, I talked a little bit about how my mom was like, I've always been hard on myself, and I have, and so that's something I need to get back to working on. But yeah, so I just wanted to go live and let y'all know I'm gonna be working on my channel and trying to learn more about YouTube and how this whole thing works, because I want to be good at it and work on it. And I think working on it helps you become more acclimated to the systematic thing of, like, how these channels work, because I still don't know that yet. I don't know. It's just a lot of things behind the scenes on um, YouTube channels, and like doing the editing and all of that, because I haven't really gotten into that as much. So it's going to be a learning curve for me. Yeah. But yeah, that's all I got for y'all today. And so now I'm about to call my mom so I can hear her voice, because I just love her. But I thank you all for watching me. I hope that y'all have a wonderful rest of the evening. And like I said, I'm going to call my mom, and then get some stuff together for my day tomorrow. And hopefully, everything goes well. But other than that, I will see y'all soon. And don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. I appreciate it. Bye.